We are live. Welcome to Iron Rations. I am one of your hosts, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. With me is none other than Joe the lawyer. Joe, welcome.
Hey guys, how are you? Hope you've had a good week and a good Friday, and I'm looking forward to a damn good weekend.
Joe, welcome.
Hey guys, how are you? Hope let me see.
Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR.
That's what I did. That's what I did. I didn't turn the volume down on my other one because I'm a noob. I'm a noob.
Well,
right.
you're not at home. That's the issue.
That's the thing. That is the thing. So I got to warn you in advance, everybody. If you start hearing barking, I am my brother's in Disney with his family, and I have, since I live about a mile away, I have dog sitting duty all week. So he's home with the family tomorrow. I've been here all week, and me and the dog are bonding here, you know. So in any case, if you hear barking in the background, he found the invasion of squirrels that's coming to take over the house, and he's going to defend it with barks. You know,
they're coming to take over the
that's
world.
It. So that's what you're going to hear. So, and I'm using an iPad here rather than my home setup, so I got the comments over on my phone and the iPad for the talking in the video. So that's why you heard little comments going on there. So anyway, having a good show tonight. I think we should have a good time. But we got the agenda.
We got an agenda. Come on.
Yeah. 3 texts. That's our agenda. 3 texts, right?
Right. Well, come on. An agenda. An agenda. What's an agenda? Our show prep was me telling Joe that I had like stomach issues, and if you lose my you know why. Talk about show prep. Yes, 48 squirrels appear on the horizon in battle formation.
Battle formation. You would think, by the way he barks, that there is truly an invasion of squirrels going on right now. He got first blood. Now he's about 4 years old, but my brother had him, and he was always, when he walked him out in the yard, he was at a leash because Roscoe would get a little nutty. You see a squirrel from the window, and he's sit there trembling. We're like, what the hell's the matter with him? He's like so anxious. I don't know. You think he wants to play or whatever, right? They're furry animals, God's creatures. No. My brother finally this past spring got a fenced-in portion of his yard so we could let the dog out. This dog bolts out of the door like a bat out of hell, hunting. He killed a rabbit. He's killed a squirrel. He's killed a possum. He's on the hunt, and now he's got first blood like Rambo here. He's like, as soon as I open the door, his nose is peeking out, and he bolts at 100 miles an hour. He's got whatever he's got in him. I forget, he's like 15 different breeds. He's a mutt. But whatever he's got in him, he just will not let any small creature live in his territory.
Kind of sounds like a lot of player characters in the campaigns we've been in.
Yeah. He's a murder hobo, except he has a home.
Yeah. Okay. Well then, yeah. I have a home base. I'll return to my home, get my food, get my drink, go out, kill a rabbit.
Yeah.
Not eat the rabbit, probably.
No. He just kills it because it's an intruder. And he's so proud of himself, too. He goes back like a bee. You ever see a dog smile? Everybody has a dog. Some dogs don't smile. This dog, the only time you ever see him smile, he's back after a kill. He's like proud because he defended the household. He's like, now make me a steak. He's like that kind of mentality. He's got almost,
You thought that squirrel was going to be dangerous to this house.
Yeah.
You thought it was going to steal our nuts.
Yeah.
Exactly. Don't worry. I've denutted the squirrel.
He's a little 35-pound dog, but God, for the bark and the viciousness, I'm telling you, man. He's like, this is a good guard dog for D&D if you're ever playing with something like this.
I got news for you before we delve into today's general topic. Rachel is a dachshund lover. She loves her miniature dachshund. So when I met her, she had this dog, Chloe, and she used to call Chloe her Bronx dachshund. Chloe, she was a Bronx dog. And this dog weighed about 10.5 pounds. But Rachel's neighbors in the Bronx, the apartment building that she was in, when they would finally see the dog, invariably the response was, "That's the dog that makes all that noise." Because she had this big chest.
Yeah,
so her bark was right, and then you see this dog, and it's this little sweetheart.
Yeah.
Wow.
Dachshunds, those are those long hot dog dogs, aren't they? Those big long ones? Yeah. So it's probably it's coming from 3 miles away near his ass, and by the time it gets out of his mouth, it's
So there you go.
So we do have a couple of good topics today, right? I mean, the first, we're going to talk about we had a great time in New York City, Professor Dungeon Master. That was a fun time.
Yeah,
we met up with him.
That was nearly 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Then we have. I've been off this week because I took my vacation in sync with my brothers, so I could do the dog sitting duty. And yeah, I've just been at his place, and basically, Tim Shorts. I've been playing his Monday night game now for a bit, and we were doing solo things. He was DMing, I was playing. I guess not solo, 1-on-1. And for a while now, it's Snickle the Gnome. And Snickle the Gnome, in case you haven't heard in the past, named him Snickle because it's Matt Jackson's favorite ever all-time character was named Snickle, and Matt hates gnomes. So Snickle the Gnome has been playing in Tim's game. And so Tim expanded the game and brought in a few more players. And we've been doing a few months now in a city crawl game, and it's been really fun. But he's kind of winding it down. He says, hey, he wants to run something on Mondays. And I said, fuck it, I'm going to do it. Because it's been a while since I run something old school. And I've been, since COVID hit, I've been watching a lot of these Bronze Age videos on YouTube. Just some great stuff. Really, really educational stuff. People put their heart and soul into this stuff. It's better than any college course you could take. It's like, why go to college? Just get a freaking YouTube subscription. So I've been really into it, reading books on it. And I like the whole atmosphere of the Bronze Age and early Bronze Age especially. It's a more primitive culture. And I've been wanting to run an old school D&D game that's set in like Bronze Age, not Earth, but taking inspiration from a lot of stuff from Earth, obviously. Right. And I says, shit, man, I'm gonna fucking do this finally. So I got this setting that's been percolating in my mind. The other thing that was percolating in my mind was, as you know, I house rule the crap out of everything I always have. Every system I ever played, house rule. You and
me both. Right?
Yeah, you have to.
If I house rule, my big house rule is doing less house rules. That's me putting a lot of effort. It's like, all right, I'm going to house rule this minimally because that's going to be the hardest thing for me to do.
Yeah. I mean, my 5e house rules are like, 11 pages long, I think, But if I've been house ruling stuff from LOTFP from the game I ran 10 years ago, I have those house rules. From Ash, from AD&D, from Osric, Osric/AD&D. Every system I ever played, I did a bunch of house rules for that system. And along the way, I kind of liked what I did, and I said, this has the makings of an old school game, and so I've been writing down little scrap notes over the past year. I think of something, this would be cool for your fantasy heartbreaker, right? And so God damn it, I said I'm going to not only run my own setting, I'm going to make up my own game. So I've been doing that. So I figured that might be interesting to talk about. I got about 20-30 pages in on the game itself, and so about 10 pages of the settings so far for the player's version, about 20 pages for the fantasy heartbreaker basically, and I changed up a lot of stuff. It's not a standard clone, there's some different things that I figured might be worth talking about, might be interesting to hear about, and definitely what I'm hoping for is some input, opinions. I got I'm at sort of a crossroads on a couple things. I was hoping to get some input as to what people might think about. Give me some advice, guys. That sort of thing. So, yeah, Blood Island. Oh, love it. It's there, buddy.
Yeah.
That's the other thing I'm doing. Every setting, every homebrew I've ever done for any kind of game, I did a bunch of stuff for a couple year LOTFP campaign. I did some stuff with Blood Island. I did some stuff when I ran for Tim and the guys about 2 years ago. And everything I've ever sort of creatively made up, even in 5e games, I'm stealing it all. So Blood Island will be a place on this world. The place that Tim's folks explore will be a place on this world. Everything that's going to be incorporated in like sort of a seamless, hopefully seamless way. So yes, it will make its appearance. Damn it, it will make its appearance. And I'm stealing everything I had from it, and I'm just going to incorporate it, man. So yeah. This should be fun. Time Team episodes on YouTube are also great, says Matt Melman. I've never heard of those. I'm going to check them out though. I'm going to write that shit down. Time Team. All right, cool. You ever watch stuff, historical stuff on YouTube, man?
Yeah, I do actually, but a lot of times, oh God, what is it? There's the one that like takes history and like animates it and makes it like really concise.
Oh, that's cool.
And slightly amusing. There, it's like embellished stick figures. And I can't remember the name of the damn series, but it's really, really well done and very entertaining. And it's something that I can actually watch with Rach because we do our YouTube viewing on our 65-inch TV.
Nice, yeah.
And as Rach put it, I don't think we've actually put on whatchamacallit. We've actually put on, I guess, Verizon Files, an actual cable channel in months. It's all YouTube and on demand. So
that's true. I mean, when I got rid of cable when I moved up here, and now I just have Netflix. I got Prime, of course, because I buy so much crap that you might as well have Prime, so it comes with all the shows and movies. I don't have Hulu because I can't find anything on Hulu I like. I know that the Hulu Basic, Hulu Live has all kinds of channels and blah blah blah. But it's not worth it.
right.
And I have Disney Plus because I like some of the Star Wars, the Clone Wars cartoons and stuff like that. That's I'm rewatching those. So, and then I just got HBO Max because I was talking to a coworker about Sopranos. I'm like, God damn, I gotta watch that. It's been too long. So I just got HBO Max for that. So that was it.
HBO Max is pretty good. It has some. It has Babylon 5 on it. I've got.
Do really?
It has Babylon 5.
Nice.
And
I didn't know that.
And it's widescreen. Okay. I actually watched the first 2 minutes of the first episode last night, believe it or not, because I was like, all right. And it gets me remastered to widescreen. I'm like, holy shit, this is going to be great. And Rachel's never seen it. I've watched the series when it first aired. Then I watched it again on DVD, and then I watched it a third time. Probably about 12 years ago with Chris, my son. So Rachel's never experienced it, and she
I'm envious.
She loves The Expanse.
Yes.
So she likes The Expanse, and this is going to really be something that she's going to really enjoy.
I tell you, Babylon 5, after I watched that, because you remember the conflict with B5 versus Star Trek Deep Space Nine back?
Yeah.
Right? And I was anti Deep Space Nine because I was like, you know what? Star Trek is about exploration. These assholes just sit here in a goddamn space station waiting for shit to come to them. What a bunch of wusses. So I just never watched it, right? And when I watched Babylon 5, I was like, I love that show. And let me check out Deep Space Nine. And I think Deep Space Nine is my favorite Star Trek series ever. I got to say.
I didn't like Deep Space Nine when it first aired. I watched occasionally.
Yeah.
But I think Deep Space Nine is a lot like Babylon 5 in that the first season is the weakest season. Babylon 5, that first season, which sets everything up. You have to watch it. But it's a ponderous fucking season to watch. And then seasons 2, 3, and 4 are fucking amazing.
Yes.
And then season 5 is kind of like, oh, so you did season 4, you did seasons 4 and 5, and you actually got season 5, and you had nothing to put in there. So it's all this filler shit. Okay.
Yeah. They didn't know they were going to be canceled to get another one, so they tried to cram it all in. So I know.
Yeah, but they had a lot of good, like a lot of their episodes that were kind of like, you could tell they were filler episodes, like they didn't really move the plot along. But they had some great science fiction writers, Neil Gaiman, I believe Peter David. I would recognize the names and go, oh, I know that person.
Yeah.
Good omens. Yeah, it's like, holy shit. So you knew that there was going to be good character, movement, but not real story movement.
Yeah. It was very well done. It was very well done. And the brilliance of Babylon 5, even above Deep Space Nine, was the plan he had in place before the whole thing started. He dropped seeds in season 1, early episodes that you didn't know what the hell he was talking about until 3rd or 4th season where it all came to fruition. Holy crap. That relates back to 40 episodes ago, Yeah.
It's like I got to go back and pull out the DVD and rewatch it. So
yeah, exactly.
I'm looking forward to it. And like I said, it's 5 seasons long. And this is back when they did like 20 episodes a season as opposed to 8 to 12 or whatever it is now when you watch something on demand on Netflix or Disney. I've been enjoying, was it Bad Batch? That's actually been pretty good. But I guess tomorrow's the last episode of the season. It's really interesting to see. So I've actually been keeping pace.
I need to binge the last. I got about 10 or 11 under my belt, and I figured, let me, instead of waiting this week to week thing, let me just binge them all later. That's what I'm gonna do.
No, it's been pretty good. I have been pleasantly surprised. The first episode or two, I was kind of like, and I was like, oh wait, I'm enjoying this, and it's animated, which means now I have to go back and finish off the Clone Wars episode.
You got it, man. It really. I was my nephews, especially. Because it was out when they were younger, right? And my nephews, they're like, I'm going to be Clone Rex, and I'm going to be Clone Cody, Commander Cody, or whatever. Right. And I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about. They're not in any of the Star Wars movies I ever seen. And they're in the Clone Wars, the cartoon. Yeah. So I figured it was a kid's cartoon, and I never gave it any kind of.
No.
Oh my God, dude, this is an awesome show. And
Yeah, it's not
they call it
not
the
a
Clone
kid's
Wars, but I like it for the whole Anakin thing. You know, that's what I like it for.
Yeah, I was like, this is not a kid's cartoon. This is
No,
a bit
no,
more
no.
violent. And it isn't kids violent. It's like, I think they just killed somebody.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. It isn't like G.I. Joe. You got knocked down. No.
Yeah. Or the A-Team. Remember that?
Oh, no. Those bullets are getting close.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. God help us. All right, so.
Anyway, prelude over.
Prelude over. Listen, we are, when it comes to being focused, we're not really focused. But
not even drinking either.
I did my drinking earlier today, and again, the heat didn't do me any good. Yeah. But like I said, 2 weeks ago, less one day, so 13 days ago. Yeah. We went to the Complete Strategist in Midtown Manhattan. Mm-hmm. Within spitting distance of the Empire State Building.
Yes.
For those who need to get it in their framework. And we met with Professor Dungeon Master.
He has the Dungeon Craft show on YouTube, guys. Really good show.
Hugely popular show. Professionally done show. Listen.
Yeah. Not us.
I've said this before. I will say this again. We are kind of like, I don't know, cable access TV. But we're the good cable access TV. We're the show you actually tune in to watch on cable access. We're not the one with the guy pointing his finger up his nose and scratching out the boogers. Where we are actually giving you something that's entertaining. Wasn't Commander Cody in Attack of the Clones? You know what?
I don't know.
Was that one of the first three? Was that the movies 1, 2, 3 trilogy, which I only saw because my son wanted to see it?
Yes, you know what? It was. He was the guy who handed Obi-Wan the lightsaber after it fell or something, wasn't he? I think you're right. Then he took a shot at Obi-Wan. You're right. I think he was the guy because they flipped when Order 66 or whatever happened, you know?
Yeah, no, listen, the first trilogy, which means movies, 4, 5, and 6, I have seen multiple times, including hand shooting first and hand shooting second and all that other bullshit.
Yeah.
And poor special effects versus uber special effects. All right. The movies 1, 2, and 3 I saw once each with my son in the theaters, and I refused to ever watch them on TV or DVD because I just couldn't stomach it. Yeah. Not saying that they were all that bad, but they weren't all that good. And then I think I've watched the final 3. I say I think because when they were on demand and they would pop up, I would go, oh, I'll watch it. And then read a comic book at the same time. I should say graphic novel because I'm 54 and we don't read comic books. We read graphic novels. But
I did the first 3. I was with you. You know, the prequels, and then I was like, whatever. And then I watched the sequel trilogy. I watched the first 2 of the sequel trilogy. I never watched the third one because it's stupid. And I said to myself, you know what? These things suck so bad. I'm gonna go. It really makes me appreciate the prequel trilogy. So I watched them again, and I did appreciate them for what they were a lot more after seeing what the hell they did in the sequel trilogy. But how hot is it in New York?
It hit 97 today, and it was fucking brutal.
Yeah,
and it's funny because in prior years we get temperatures like this, and I would step onto my front porch, and within 15 seconds I would have sweat pouring into my eyes. And I start feeling cooler. Yeah. And now I have so many medications due to congestive heart failure. I step out and I'm like, oh, my skin feels slightly damp. Well, I guess I don't sweat like I used to, which is I guess good and bad. But I'm sure if I stayed out longer than the 4 minutes it took to walk to the pub and back from the pub, it would have been a bit more brutal. It was not good.
I can tell you, yesterday was even more oppressive here with the humidity and the heat in Connecticut. My brother, like I said, he's in Disney, and he checked the temperatures, and it was exactly the same temperature, humidity, dew point, everything yesterday matched fucking Florida. Connecticut to Florida are identical. He's like, it's like no big deal, no difference to him being there or being here yesterday. It's like, Jesus, man.
Yeah, we were lucky 2 weeks ago when we went down into Manhattan. It was a beautiful day.
Yeah, we got real lucky, man.
It was like low mid 80s.
Yeah.
So, we did the complete what with not with Professor Dungeon Master, 2 members of his gaming group. Tom and God, I can't forget the woman.
Really nice lady, and I forget her damn name too.
and it's nothing against her. I worked a job as a cop where I would literally tell the officers that worked under me, "Thank God you all have name tags," because I don't remember fucking names. So it takes me a while. I'll remember faces. I won't forget a face, but names,
yes,
I am horrible with.
Same way.
I'm sure if Rach was in the room, she'd be telling me everything, and and she said this.
Yeah.
If Rach remembers, fucking social workers remember everything.
Yeah.
What you say around them, because they don't. They're like elephants. They don't forget. But Saturday for you will be 98. Zachary, I am sorry. Tomorrow it's going to be 88 in New York City, with a chance of thunder bumpers early afternoon.
Yeah.
So again, we were blessed 2 weeks ago. Saturday. I mean, I was afraid we were going to have a rainy day.
Yep.
It was a beautiful day. So
this is our first excursion together in New York in over a year and a half.
Yeah.
Because the last time we had gone was the winter of 2019, I think. This Christmas season, I think. So it was COVID and everything else, right? And then we, that was it. And so I was like itching to get out of the house. I needed to go do something. I'm like, I was like, we got to do this. And then we were talking about, PDM. He mentioned Eric in a couple of his shows. And so Eric reached out, and next thing you know, we're all getting together. He was a hell of a nice dude.
Yeah, it was great too, because it wound up being a group of 6 of us getting together.
Yeah.
So if you want a really relaxed situation without any pressure, why do you have a gaming group of 5 to 6 people usually? Because that is like the ideal size of a group where you can have your sub conversations and your main conversations, and it all just kind of flows, and nobody gets left out, and it was perfect. So everybody did their own thing at the complete. Joe and I were looking at the Pathfinder and D&D stuff. Pathfinder still holds, I guess, a priority spot on the when you walk in on the center aisle. It's the right side of the center aisle, but it also has, it's overwhelmingly minis, whether it's D&D or Pathfinder in that section. Yeah, and
it shrunk. The books have shrunk.
The books have shrunk, certainly, and I'm always amazed at how much they can fit into the complete and the space that they have.
I know. It's amazing. And they have this one aisle, right? As soon as you walk in there, and it's on the left-hand side, they got the magazine rack, all right, with these. And then once in a while, you find some old-ass magazines up there, right? And there's some old magazines, some new magazines. And then on the left-hand side, it's all the old-school stuff and the random stuff, right? And so, but he stacks up about 2 feet height book boxes of shit. There's random boxes of models or whatever, whatever hell non-D&D related stuff, but they're blocking D&D shelves. I've always told myself, someday I'm going to get in there early when no one's in there. Then I'm just going to take every box away from that aisle and just see what the hell he's got back there. He might have shit from 1975 back there. He didn't even know about it. It's so buried so far back on those shelves,
Well,
it's amazing.
Back in the day, back in, I guess, the 80s and early mid 90s, you would walk along, and that whole left side, all the way to the back, that ground level was all these short magazine racks with Judges Guild and all these small press indie shit. Yeah. And they would get dog-eared, or beyond dog-eared, but because you'd be walking along, and by necessity, you would have to bump into this shit. Yeah. So it's hard to find anything that was in fine condition, let alone near mint or mint if you were a collector.
Yep, you drag your bag against it, or your book bag bumps it, next thing you know.
Well, then again, there was about a 10-year period where you couldn't bring your bag beyond the front desk. I remember that for the longest time, because things change, right? It was bring your bag in. Don't bring your bag in because you might shoplift. To we don't want to be responsible for your fucking bag.
Yep.
Bring your bag in. So, and that's everywhere. That was also. Well, you probably went down after we broke. We'll talk about our lunch, which was very nice. But you went down to the Strand afterwards, right?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Remember, for the longest time, the Strand, you had to check your book bag in or your bag in, and they gave you half a plane card or whatever the fuck it was.
Yep.
Now there's no bag check because those were employees. They don't have to pay now. It's cheaper to risk you shoplifting than to pay somebody to check your bag.
Yeah. And the liability. Oh, I had $1,000 in my bag and it's not there anymore. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of thing.
So an added headache you don't need. So we all spent some money at the Complete, and we was it you or was it Professor DM that was talking with I guess he's like the manager or one of the he's always there. I don't know his name. He's always
I don't either. Yeah, he knows everybody though.
Yeah, and he was talking about how the Complete, when it was shut down, right? The city shut down. Non-essential businesses. When I say the city, New York City, shut down non-essential businesses. They turned to mail order, and God bless the community because mail order kept them going.
I'm glad. I mean, he told me one time his rent is in a couple tens of thousands a month, and they slammed him with like extra insurance because he's in a terrorism zone or some shit because of the Empire State Building post 9/11 is right there.
Right.
So he's screwed. I mean, that you gotta get substantial income, and he does. I mean, granted, he gets good money, but still, I mean, you gotta make some money there to keep yourself going. It's the heart of New York City and the grand with the centralized tourism location that he's in. So yeah.
Right. So I mean, listen, do I shop on Amazon? Yes, because there are times when you not only when you want to save a buck, you don't want to. Especially during COVID, I didn't want to go into Manhattan for jack or shit. I wanted to avoid taking the trains as much as I could.
Yep.
Now I'm immunized. We're not going to get into the whole Delta, Lambda, Omega situation that's going on. But being immunized meant that I felt comfortable enough I could take the New York City subway. Now, it was more crowded than I thought it may have been, but nowhere near as crowded as it used to be. Ridership, they're saying ridership is down 60%, and I believe it.
I tell you, I took the train from, you take the Metro North train from Connecticut, and you land in Grand Central there. And I got to say, it was more crowded than I thought, and people didn't. You keep every 10 minutes you hear the announcement. Wear the mask, go over the nose, right from the official pre-recorded train conductor voice. And when the conductor came around to collect your tickets, people had the mask on, and then they took them off right away. It was got to be like 80% unmasked on the train. I was wearing mine because I'm old, fat, and high blood pressure. I'm not taking no chances.
Right.
But I was surprised how full it was. And at nighttime when I came back, I think I took that 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock train because, like I said, I hit the Strand afterwards. It was full, man. It was really full, and I was impressed. I mean, it's people are going back. People are busting loose like we did. You just got to do something some point. You got to live.
Yeah, no, I mean certainly. And we got off the train. We came in from Queens. We got off the train, and of course, Rach had a destination in mind prior to getting to our final destination of the Complete. She had to go to Lush, and I don't go into Lush anymore because I can't. Maybe in the winter time when I can breathe better, but Lush is an overwhelmingly clinging scent of multiple scents. It's just I can't do it.
What is it? What is Lush? I meant to ask you then when you said we're going to Lush. I'm like, what?
All right, so think of Bath and Body Works.
Yeah.
If the Bath and Body Works where they sell soaps and scents and. But take Bath and Body Works and move it up to 11.
Okay.
So there's like this bluish soap that's like an ocean scent that I actually like. Yeah. And you buy it by the pound. And Rach must have bought me like a 1.5 pound rock chunk of soap, and it's and all I can think of, and I'm using it now, but I'm like washing myself with this huge thing. It's like maybe I should take it out and just cut it into smaller pieces for my own sanity. But my niece loves Lush because she gets bath bombs from Lush and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
we had to go back to Lush, by the way, on Wednesday. This time at Roosevelt Field in Nassau County, because that was our date with my niece, and I stayed at a Lush. I was like, I'm just gonna pace the mall right now and get a little exercise in. You two enjoy your smells. Thank you.
It seems like it'd be a great marketing strategy that wherever somebody put a Lush, if you put a bar right next door to it, I mean,
God,
right? I mean, it's like, you know.
How much drinking can you get accomplished in half an hour? More than I need.
Yeah, exactly.
Trust me, I'm sure I can do a lot.
They leave Lush with a smile. You stumble out of the bar with a smile, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Speaking of bar, we went to complete that. We went to the
Captain's Bar and Grill.
Captain's Bar and Grill. It's still there. Still survives. It was a good time. And it was a nice thing because we had the tables near the front, and they opened all those front doors. Not just a door; it was like sort of like a wall, and so we had the air coming in, and I felt a little bit better. Because, you know, you take your mask off, you're eating, you're drinking. We had a few. And it was Eric's birthday. So I said, hey, everything, Eric and Rachel, you know, it's on me, this and that. And Professor Dungeon Master at the end pulled a fast one and bought the whole damn table, everything, which was fucking cool.
Tom, it was my birthday the day before on that Friday. And Tom had his birthday coming up during like next couple of days after that. So Professor DM took care of the whole table. It was very sweet, very generous.
Yeah, very nice.
God bless.
Very nice of him. Yeah, cool guy. Man. He's an interesting guy. You know, he's an interesting guy. He's a little more low key in person than he is on the TV or on the TV, like on YouTube. You know.
On the tubes, on the TV, tube thing. I watch on the tube thing. And he's bit located. Listen, he does like I said earlier, a very professional show. I mean, I watch it and I'm just like, damn, if I could do 1/10 of the professionalism he does, we'd probably multiply our viewership by, I don't know, tens. Who knows? But that would probably keep me from doing daily casts because there's a lot of behind the scenes work, and I am not good at behind the scenes work. A couple months ago I was talking about I want to get my own thing going, and originally before Tim had said he was going to drop out and I was going to do the DM, and I had planned on learning how to do that this week. That was my plan, is to spend time learning video editing and this and that to try to make because I wanted to do something a little more scripted rather than just off the cuff, right? Something like they did, right? Because there's a couple of guys I really enjoy. One is Professor Dungeon Master on Dungeon Craft. Another guy is Mr. Welch, and he does the Mystera related materials. I've met Welch.
Did you really? He's a cool fucking dude. He sounds like, right?
Yeah, he was at North Texas a couple years ago.
Okay, yeah.
And, he is the Mystera master.
Oh my God, yeah. He's like the Rob Connolly for, the Wilderlands, the Judges Guild stuff, and then there's Greyhawk Grognard for Greyhawk, obviously, and then there's this guy for Mystera. But yeah, so then we got him, and then he has a good show, and I like his format. And then the other guy I liked is this Captain Courageous. CAPTN Courageous. I look him up. He does a lot of really cool videos, mostly retro reviews. And if I can merge their styles in something a little bit, a little polished, I kind of just even if not, I just want the exercise of learning something new, a different skill, So I just a little challenge there. So Eric gave me, generous as all hell, an iPad, and so like wow, and I'm getting at it with videos, and so again, I appreciate the shit out of that, man. I've never had one of these. It's amazing. It's amazing. And
it's the Tenkar family upcycling program. Listen, we took care. Rach and I got the newest iPad Pros, and we passed them on to people who we knew could use them. In Rachel's case, we passed Rachel's on to my son's girlfriend. We knew she could get a good use out of it, and I passed mine on to you because I know the creativity in you that is waiting to come out. And little secret. I haven't been a government employee. I know that there are times when you work and you don't have a minute to yourself.
Yeah.
And then there are times that you work where you're not doing a minute of work. And I figured if Joe could have a decent iPad with a decent keyboard, he could take that time, which is downtime, right?
Yeah.
And turn that into productive time when it comes to kids, right?
Exactly.
Synchronicity, man. Synchronicity.
Yeah, it was perfect. It's perfect. So I'm thinking to myself, how do I do this? The one question I had for Professor Dungeon Master there was, what do you use? How do you edit your stuff? And he had said he used iMovie, which is an Apple thing. I'm like, oh, fuck, I don't have an Apple thing. I'm like, wait, now I do.
Yes. And it's free. It's free with the iPad or with your iMac or whatever.
It's perfect, man. I downloaded Procreate the other day to mess around with the map because I did a map in Dungeon Craft or Dungeon.
Okay.
What is it? The Dungeon. What the hell's it called? Dungeon Draft. And I did a map for the whole setup a couple months ago, and I'm like, I'm just going to edit little things in there with the Procreate. It's fantastic. It's amazing. I have to use stylus pens, and so anyway, he told me he does this, and he says, "This is how cool he was." He says, "Hey, hit me up on the page because I'm a Patreon." And he says, "Hit me up on Patreon. I'll give you some tips or tricks because." I know iMovie's a little complicated sometimes, got little weird things in there. So I'm like, all right, it's perfect, man. So once I get rolling on it, I'm going to definitely hit him up and take his advice and see what he does. A good show. He's got 80,000 viewers for God's sakes or something, right? I mean, he's doing something right.
Yeah, no, he's doing something really right. And again, he has a presence about him on his episodes, on his show.
He does.
That it's not just authoritative, which it is, but it's also approachable.
Yes.
And honestly, meeting him face to face, I was like, wow, I know you from your show, and it's not. Is it more polished because he's obviously doing a polished version when he's on his show? Yes, but the personality that he shows on his show comes through in person. So
he does.
It's not like he's putting on a show when he does his show.
Yeah, it's him. It's like we are who we are right now. He is who he is. It's a more like don't forget he's a school teacher, right? I think high school or something like that. So
I believe high school, but definitely school.
Yeah. So when you're teaching, you have to have a certain, like you said, approachableness plus authority in your voice because you're teaching kids.
Right.
You got to keep them in line, but you got to not be an asshole in front of them, or else they're never going to learn anything. And that's I think he brings all that into his videos, and he's a personable kind of guy, especially if you're a Patreon of his, and if you're not, you should be, because he does a lot of behind the scenes stuff. And if you're a Patreon of his, he does, for most of his videos that he releases on his show, he will do an extra 5-10 minutes sometimes, for the Patreon folks, and he'll get a little bit behind the scenes. It's unscripted. It's it takes his tie off, takes the vest of protection off, and just chills out a little bit, right? And he'll tell you some more behind the scenes stuff. Plus, he does a summer video series where he's at his porch just talking. And this one, he just did a recent one. He's in Jamaica or Bahamas or something like that on vacation. He did one from out there. I'm like, God damn, that's the shit right there, man.
Yeah, I thought my 2 or 3 episodes from the Poconos were going to be like, woohoo, and they were relaxing. But that his porch was like, wow, he's got more than a wind chime behind him. He's got, he's on vacation. He's got water behind him, and that is amazing.
I like the behind the scenes that he did too, where he had the thing with his. There were 2. He had a celebration of his 200th video, right? And he had one player, I think, plus his daughter came on, and they did sort of an interview, asking him questions and this and that. And it's kind of cool because you get the whole behind the scenes with, just a guy. He's just a freaking guy like everybody else, right? And I guess he does his videos in his attic, and his daughter has, I guess, her room is up there in part of the attic. And if he's doing his video, he takes him a while to get him polished and this and that. And the daughter says, I'm laying in bed sometimes and she can't get out because it'll interrupt the whole video. And he's sitting there trying to figure out what to say, and she's saying to herself, "Just spit it out." It's those little moments. Just spit it out.
God damn you! Just say it. Say it. Don't spray it. Get it out.
And the funniest one is I saw even funnier than that. He had his kid, his son. He must be his high teens, right? And he did a review of a video game. And this is, the kid's wearing his father's vest, and the vest was oversized. It was kind of fun. It was kind of funny. It was cute, And so the kid's talking about the video game. And afterwards, you see the behind the scenes for Patreon people. He's interviewing his kid, and the kid's talking. This is harder than I thought. You know, and how you doing? So yeah. And he says something to the effect of, so now you know what it's like when you got, you're yelling across the kitchen all the way out to the laundry room. And you interrupt my video and this and that. And the kid's like, Dad, you married a woman from Staten Island and you wanted a quiet house.
Oh God!
So that's the kind of behind the scenes stuff you'll see if you get his Patreon, man. It's just fantastic, though. It's really, really a good time. But yeah, he is himself. He's a little more low key because he's not reading rehearsed script, but he's a cool dude. Very generous, very nice guy, and it was a good time. It was a really good time, I think.
Yeah, so I think that we're aiming to do this again in the fall. So
yeah, assuming all goes well, dude. I got to say, I don't want to get into too much about the COVID thing, but I was supposed to be going to a wedding in Long Island tomorrow. I was the +1 of a friend. I don't even know the people. I know the friend and her sisters, and I said, listen. She called last night. We were talking about it. She goes, listen, if you're uncomfortable, yada yada. I was like, I kind of am. I'm not that for nothing, but I'm not.
Right.
My Pfizer vaccine is now down to 40% against the Delta. I mean, 42 or whatever the hell it is. You got 200 people there, and she says pretty much, I'm going to be wearing a mask. There might be 2 other people out of 200 wearing a mask. I'm like, well, fuck. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to pass. I'm sorry. I went out and bought a whole new suit, dropped $500, reserved a hotel room, $400 in there. I'm just going to pass because it ain't worth the shit. It ain't worth coming back to give it to. I still got to see my parents coffin. You know what I mean? So I don't want to come back and who knows, give them something. Even if I don't get something, I want to give it to them. It's not worth the risk.
Well,
so,
and this came up actually last week, but Gen Con changed. Gen Con was initially, Gen Con's going to be, 5 weeks from now? It's going to be in September. They punted. And Gen Con was, hey, we're going to have a vaccine mandate in place, so everybody has to be vaccinated, but we're not going to require any masks. And we've got different, we're cutting back on attendance. And last week they announced, so we're no longer going to have a vaccine mandate because everyone has to be masked at all times, unless you're eating or drinking.
Wow.
Or if you are outdoors in an uncrowded situation, which, by the way, Joe, you're a lawyer.
Yeah, that's wiggle words if I ever heard it.
Yeah, it's like, so who decides whether or not the outdoors is crowded, number one? And number two, as somebody had mentioned, I think, when Mike and I were talking about this, what you need to get is one of those hats you used to always see at the ball game, where you put your drink in the hat and have the straw go into your mouth.
Yeah.
And always have the straw in your mouth, and guess what? You're always drinking, right?
Uh-huh.
Don't need to wear a mask.
Yep.
We're talking gamers, and gamers are the worst fucking rules lawyers.
Oh yeah,
this is coming from somebody who's been 20 years in the NYPD. My last 14 as a sergeant, and I dealt with a number of police officers that would try to be rules lawyers and interpret guidelines as they saw fit.
Yeah,
I was used to that. All right, but gamers are worse than anybody that ever assigned to me.
Because that's how, especially the older ones, we've had to deal with the old school wish spell. That's why. That made me a lawyer today that I am. Dealing with that goddamn wish spell. Cutting out all the loopholes. You make a wish, you got to write a 14-page dissertation just to make sure the goddamn thing doesn't fuck up,
And don't forget to copyright it at the end so nobody can use it without getting you proper compensation. Well, if you want to duplicate my verbiage of my wish spell, please make sure you give me proper credit and pay a $5 fee via PayPal to JoetheLawyer@gmail.com.
Yeah, Joe, be careful not to get distracted by too many projects. Choose one and focus all. Yeah, that's true. It's true. This thing was sort of like a pleasant springing upon me surprise. You know what I mean? I didn't plan on doing this, so I figured once I get the rules banged out, and it's what I'm going to be doing this campaign. And I told him it's going to be like Tim and Rob. I think Matt Jackson's going to be in. I'm looking for dedicated players who want to kick in for like a year, right? That's what I'm hoping for, like that. You want to get in there? Are you free on Mondays?
Might be the only damn free on. I gotta double check.
All right, that'd be cool, man. Because I'm looking for another.
Because I went up live streaming 3 days a week, and I do the Discord hangout on Thursdays. Right. I will. Well, being that Rach is retiring soon, I might have a bit more options because I will see my wife a lot more, so I won't have to necessarily put a steady time away. Now, it's going to be every Monday?
Yeah, should be every Monday. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right.
So we're hoping to get it Monday night, 7:30, 10:30ish, 10:30, something like that. A couple hours. And I should have the rules basically in your hands by the end of my vacation, which is Tuesday night, right? So next Tuesday. So I should have everything there and enough of the setting. And then it's just going to be, you guys are my guinea pigs, play testers, as you know, and just play it as we go. If something's fucked up, I might adjust as we go and play on the fly. None of us are rules lawyers in terms of our games, min-maxers and all that, so we'll all just roll with it, But that'd be good. We got Jackson, Tim Shorts, Rob Connolly, you, me. That'd be a perfect fucking group right there.
That's going to be a group that either will make the game or break the game.
Yeah.
might do both at the same time if you get all those.
I hope so, because that's how I'm looking forward to this as a DM. Great players. You can't beat as a DM having great players, so that's fantastic.
Dandelion Games. Rachel's retiring from social work. She's got another week left of social work, and then she will be transitioning to yoga training. She's going to take her a while to be able to get some positions in some local yoga schools or do stuff online. But it's like I'm retired. I live stream 3 days a week, and we have a zine that we put together, and we're revising Swords of Wizardry Continual Light. So I do a daily blog. I've not stopped doing stuff creatively, but I stopped for, I guess you could say, gainful employment. I'm gainfully retired. But Rach is going from, and she, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed my 20 years in law enforcement. Rach has, for the most part, enjoyed her time as a social worker.
Mm-hmm.
But the change in my life that happened because I retired. Rach is at the same age now, pretty much. When I retired at just short of my 49th birthday. Rach just turned 50. So it's a good time for her to transition to doing something that she's more passionate about. Okay.
Yeah.
You can enjoy your career and have a great career and not necessarily be passionate about it. She's very passionate about yoga. So yoga will take its own pace and its own time. A lot of it in the next 6 months is probably going to be a lot of additional training that she's been dying to do, and now we'll have the free time to do it. So it's going to be exciting times. And just as a side note, and Rach has been pretty much pretty forceful in this. Once she gets herself set up, gets her space set up here for doing the yoga training, once we get things set up, she's going to want to do some free classes, probably on YouTube, maybe pre-recorded, for the gaming community.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah. Because as she has put it to me, the gaming community has given her a lot. Okay. When she goes to these conventions with me and we do the Gamers Health, the feedback has been great. And this is something that she feels she can give back. So
that's great.
Initially, I suspect that we'll probably have the videos up on this channel, and then we'll establish her channel. But it's all a work in progress right now.
That's cool, man.
Once she's no longer doing social work, and to be honest with you, because she's been doing social work, my God, since I guess the end of graduate school. So she's got probably close to.
Watch out! You don't say your age on air. Watch out!
I already did. She's 50.
Oh,
I said it. Listen, I have a very young-looking wife for 50 years of age. I mean, I'm 54, and with my hair cut, I don't quite look 54. When my hair was getting wild, I could have passed for my niece's grandparent, apparently. When Friendly's offers you the senior discount, and this happened.
I hope you took it.
I did. But this was. I was still working. So this is like just before I retired. So it's like 5.5, almost 6 years ago. So Shannon was like 5, and we were at Friendly's, and I get the receipt, and I'm looking at it, and I went, "What the heck?" I go, "I got a senior discount." And so Shannon looks at me and she goes, "Uncle, what does this senior discount mean?" Well, I got 15% off the bill. She goes, why? Because apparently they think I'm old. And she goes, well, she goes, compared to who?
Smart kid.
I go, I guess compared to how old I really am. She goes, and she goes, are you going to tell them? I go, should I? She goes, again, she was like 5. She goes, it's cheaper this way, right? I'm like, yeah. No, I don't think you should tell them. So I was like, okay. But when my hair gets longer, the gray comes in. I mean, now it's like, oh, you got this like I don't know, aged shit brown hair going, but when it gets longer, it just becomes gray. So no, I need to get my hair relatively short.
Yeah, I got the ponytail going on, and it's getting the longer it gets. I haven't cut it in a few years essentially. But yeah, it's getting longer and longer, and it's like got more and more gray showing up every freaking month. Love it. I'll join you, dude. That'd be great. That's probably a good segue. That's a great segue because you've been banging out your games, and let me. The other thing we're going to talk about today is let me give you the highlights because I got the document of the basic 80% of it. This whole structure is there, so I can say read off the highlights, and all you guys, everybody who's here, it's like 11 or 12 of you bouncing around, 11 to 13. Give me your input because that's what I'm looking for here. You know, input suggestions.
Right now, do you have rules for setting things on fire? Now I'm going to ask you: do you have rules for tying up goblins, putting them into a minecart, throwing burning oil on the goblin, and then pushing the goblin down the tracks at other goblins, and the kind of effects that will happen? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't even think 5e has rules that covers that. But it was. That
was epic. It was like we wanted to intimidate the enemy, so we captured one, threw him in a minecart, filled it with oil, tied him up, lit it on fire, and we ungagged him at that moment and pushed the cart down the hallway, down the minecart trail towards the other ones. That was they had to make a morale check at least, I think. So.
Oh, I think they were like screaming, especially because the goblin was screaming as they were in flames. Rach can't retire; she's only in her early 30s, right? I'm going to screenshot this. Hold on a second, because I'm sure Rach will love that.
Screenshot, perfect. You frame that for a birthday, man.
Yeah, so that way I will not get in trouble at any point. Like, but Rach, our live viewers think that you're only in your young 30s. I am a very blessed man, and I know it. So I'm doing all I can to support Rachel.
Don't fuck it up, dude. Don't fuck it up. You got a good one there.
My father said that to me before. Rachel and I were dating, and he's like, don't fuck this up. I'm like, and my father doesn't curse. I'm like, excuse me? I go, don't fuck what up? With Rachel. She's a keeper. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't plan to fuck it up. Because don't wait too long because she's a keeper, and if you wait too long, she's not. I'm like, all right already. And then, like 2 weeks later, my son asked Rachel for her ring size. That tells you, my family was conspiring behind my back in a good way. So
I was playing with Tim Shorts once, and I remember Ivy walked over, and I'm notoriously camera shy. She walks over, and all you see is a hand come in front of the camera, has a plate with a piece of pie on it and a fork. I'm like, God damn, I got to get married. I got to get a wife. He goes, no. He goes, you got to get a good wife. I said, God damn right.
Yes. Yes. And I mean, honestly, I'm going to tell you something right now, which I find surprising. But when I find out when Rach is off, when she's not working, I'm more productive. The time, because when she is, even now when she's working from home, I'll see her for 2 minutes here, 5 minutes here. When do you think that you're going to have lunch, hon? 1 o'clock. 2:30 comes along. She finally comes out for lunch because clients had to get booted, pushed back or whatever. But when she's off, she has her stuff to do that is accomplishing things, whether it's yoga and she's watching some videos on yoga, or she's doing her yoga class, or whatever she's doing. And it's like, I feel like I have to be productive. So I have to start being productive. But when she's working and I'm on the schedule of maybe she'll come out, maybe she won't, and I don't know I'm going to see her, I just sit in my recliner, which is to my right, and I'll go, oh, I only got 6 hours of sleep last night. I owe myself 2. I'll sleep until noon, and then I'll start worrying about making lunch. I don't do that when I actually have my wife around me. I
Yeah.
feel a need to be productive and I guess earn my wifey time.
It's good,
That makes
man.
any fucking sense. I don't know.
That's really good. That's really good. 42 years, Richard. 42 years. Congratulations, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, Rach and I will be 10 years in November, and by the way, just to put things in perspective, Far West will be 10 years late in December. So, Gareth Skarka, if you or any of your friends are listening, kindly go fuck yourself. Because if I'm reaching my 10 years of marriage and I still haven't gotten my Kickstarter from you, no matter what you say, I'm probably not. Unless you want to make an anniversary gift for me, in which case I need it in November. You know, that would probably make me feel really happy. Like, holy crap. Because I still remember Rach going to me, wait a second. And then we'll go on to Joe's stuff here. I still remember it was like a few days before we got married. And I had to get my picture taken because that was part of the backer level to, you're going to get this portrait at $150 put into the book. That's the horrible thing with me with these red hands. And, oh, God, it's really shitty looking. But in any case, Rachel's like, yeah, we got that picture because you spent $150 on something that you won't even see for another year. She goes, how the fuck can you even think about doing something like that? And I went, oh, come on, hon, it's Kickstarter. It's going to happen. It's going to be good. She's like, oh, man, I wouldn't give somebody $15 if they promised me something tomorrow. I want it now. I fucking want it now. I'm like, oh, come on, don't worry about it. And here we are, nearly 10 years later, and Rach is probably saying, you know what we could have done with $150?
Invested over time, making money.
It's like we could have spent it at the bar. It still would have had more of an emotional attachment to me.
Yeah.
Bag of shitheads right now.
Yep. That man says, "Boy, you really think you're going to do better than that?" That's funny. Matt Jackson in the house. Look at this. What are you saying? I'd like to meet the lady of whatever Joe's antics. She'd be a special lady. I'll give you that. The thing is, I'm 51. I've never been married, so I guess you could say I've never been tamed. I don't know what you want to. You get married, you're sort of like I don't know. You change. You know what I mean?
You do. And, here's the thing. And who thought we were going to get into this conversation?
Yeah.
I was 44. Rach was 40 when we got married.
Mm-hmm.
And for both of us, it was our first marriage.
Yeah.
And truth of advertising, my son, who's 28, I kind of inherited him from my ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
He came into my life when he was 6. She passed just before he turned 14, and I was already having like shared custody. He became my kid during the relationship, and we'd already been like sharing custody for like 2 years. So when she passed, it was like, well, I guess I'm taking full custody. So neither Rachel nor I had been married prior. So for both of us, we had gotten to the point in our lives, and I think many people who are still single in their 40s and 50s can relate to this. I was saying to myself, all right, well, I'm 44. I'm expired. Nobody's going to want to fucking get involved with me. I understand that. I am going to be not just happy. I'll be content playing MMOs to the wee hours of the morning, 7 days a week, and eating Pizza Hut and Doritos and drinking my beer in front of the computer because what do you think I was doing for the longest time?
Mm-hmm.
And when I met Rach, it wasn't like I was looking. I was definitely not looking. And even Rach was like, yeah, because I was at the point in my life where I just said, fuck it, but my whole life, it's career coming first. And I was like, yeah, now if I find something, I find something. If not, she's like, my life's complete. I can't complain. So my life was more complete. So we were very lucky. So if I bought $150 worth of Bitcoin 10 years ago,
God.
Matt Melman, fuck you, man. Fuck you. Fuck you and the horse you rode in on. Or even, here's a better one. if I bought an Ethereum, a year and a half ago, whenever that fucking shit launched, it's up like 30,000%. The one thing I will say, the one good investment I've ever made in my life, and I only had $80 to make the investment, was XM Sirius stock when it was 16 cents a share.
Really?
Like, I only had 80 cents $80 in my investment account, and I was like, it was kind of like, put it all on 0-0 on the roulette table. Like,
Yeah.
You know, and let it ride. And now I think it's around like $7 a share. So and I'm just like, oh, and paying dividends. So I just let it ride and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure in the end it'll go down to being worth nothing in the end. But yeah.
When Stern dies, it goes down to shot to shit, right? I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to.
God,
you know? He's half dead anyway. This guy, he used to be the shit. That's where, by the way, I don't think I've ever said this on any of our shows. That's where I got Joe the Lawyer from. I was listening to Stern. It was like 05, 06. I just come back from Colorado, moved to Connecticut, and I'm listening to Stern. And everybody on Stern was Sal the stockbroker, Jimmy the whatever, this the that, right? And so I'm like, I need a name for D&D boards and stuff.
Right.
So I said, Joe the Lawyer. And that's what I grabbed it from, So that's where Joe the Lawyer came from. Was freaking Howard Stern, and now he's a pale imitation of what he was. The Art of Thing days were the heyday, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I used to be a fan of Opie and Anthony, and I can't even watch Anthony Cumia's show that he has on. Occasionally, I watch a YouTube episode he puts up, but it's painful. Matt Jackson, I have to give a shout out to Joe. Joe, you might want to screenshot this.
All right? Yeah, I know. Hold on. I can't figure out how to do it on the iPad. What's screenshot on the iPad?
You know what? Oh, it's the up button. It's the it's the power
same
button.
thing as the phone, right?
Yeah, same thing as the phone.
Here,
I'll screenshot this for you.
Please. Let me save that one, man. Put that on my print that put on my fridge. No, I did. I called Matt this weekend, and he was surprised that he doubted I had an 18 wisdom. I don't know why. I'm just a wise man. I don't get it.
It's not a dump stat.
Anytime, Matt. It was a good conversation. We talked for a while, He doesn't know 20 minutes that hour-long talk I was taking a shit. He doesn't know that still. I would just muted at the proper times, So, good conversation.
It wasn't smell-o-vision, so you couldn't tell.
Yeah, exactly. Did you at the proper time?
Yeah, did you at least give him the proper flush, or did you mute for that one too? Because that's the best part. People have no idea what you're doing. It's like, was that just a flush? No. Yeah, Ma, that was a flush. I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
Should I ask? No, Mom, you probably shouldn't ask. I probably shouldn't tell you. I probably shouldn't have picked up the phone when you called, but I was trying to be polite. All right, never mind. Oh.
So let me give the preview. This is so Valbin was asking you could join. More than welcome. Happy to have you. Let me tell you what you're in for. Let me see. So I'm pulling my quick overview. It's called Joe's Fantasy Fucking Heartbreaker, of course. Couple things. Stats. All right. Here's the first thing. I changed it up a little bit. All right. Number one, I've always liked Unearthed Arcana's comeliness. Right. So that was the thing I wanted to keep. I just thought looks matter. Right. They always do. Right. Looks matter in life. Right. So, and charisma is not the same thing as looks. Charisma is sort of like force of personality. Right. And so I broke it out and I said, you now have personality and you have looks. So that's the first big stat change I did. Personality is what we all know charisma to be. It's force of personality. So you walk in a room, you have a magnetic personality, you have a good public speaker, you have a sort of presence. And I expanded it to you have a sense of you are who you are and you know it. And it's sort of like a force of will, right? You're a force of nature. So that's kind of what I did with that. And I put in looks because sometimes people just like to look at pretty people, right? What I did change with my stats is I got rid of wisdom. There's no wisdom or insight or anything like that. Strength, con, dex, intelligence, personality, looks. Wisdom, the only thing it's ever used for, in my experience, is for players to find out shit, that for the DM to tell them what things mean. Like they're not using their own as a player insight or wisdom to figure something out. It's like, especially with 5e, it's notorious. You do this whole big role playing scene with a in a bar or whatever, and 10 minutes later, character says, "I'm going to do an insight check to see if he's lying." Fuck you! Tell me if he's lying based on what we talked about. And since there's another change, no clerics in my game. There's a priesthood, but they don't have any spellcasters and not adventurers. All right, so there's no sort of clever class. There's no healing class, right? And so I said there's no wisdom needed for that purpose. And insight is about, do I detect things? Are I secret doors, traps? Well, no, we're not going to do that. So that's more of an intelligence based thing. So that's the first big change. All right, strength, con, dex, intelligence, personality, and looks. So what do you think?
Looks will be my dump stack, but that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. You never know. Looks will first impression kind of stuff, and also it would add to things like public speaking, because who doesn't like to watch a pretty person talk, right?
Now, do you want to call it personality, or do you want to call it presence?
Presence. That's what I call it. Personality. You're right. It might be presence. Yeah,
it might be presence, because it's more that, because it's not. It's more like that force of personality.
Yeah.
So it's the attitude that you present, or the confidence. So that to me would be, again, what you use for morale checks. All right, you've got a great presence. You got that leadership ability, or you can't fucking, you can't even convince yourself to be brave if you have a low presence. So I think that might be.
All right. And I'm taking notes here, guys. So, and I'm reading comments. I'm looking for any input. So yeah, keep it up. And anybody has any input, give it to me.
Vauban's input was spot on about you giving advice in the past. So yes.
How will I know how stupid I am? What do you say?
No. Joe told me to search a location at a key moment. I found a backpack.
That?
Joe told me to search a location at a key moment. I found a backpack full of special devices. Thanks, Joe.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Jesus. I was in the parking lot.
Yeah, I was in the Poconos on my front porch. So I remember the conversation well too. So I mean, and honestly, that is something that, and just go off script for a moment here. When it comes to gaming and a community and the bonds that you make just from being in a gaming group, they're real. Even if you don't get a chance to meet face to face until months, years later. I've met everybody I'm talking about in this situation. At the time, I don't think any of us had met face to face, but the bond was still there. And when somebody, is in that moment of crisis, you step up for that person in the moment of crisis. That is something that we do as a community, and we do in our groups. And I think that is one of the best things that gaming brings to us, and it's the connections that we make. Yeah. And those connections, they don't care about what your your personal beliefs are, your religion, your political background. We don't care. It's the bonds we make. So
to the extent we've ever talked about politics, you and I, Eric, I pretty much think that we're as far across on many topics as you could be, and yet we never talk about it. It doesn't fucking matter. We still roll dice together and do the show. It doesn't make a goddamn bit of difference, No,
but it's funny because and we say that, but the reality is, we are worlds apart on certain issues. But I think the vast majority of issues, we are so close together that they become non-issues when we do talk about stuff, because that's part of being an adult. Okay. I think being one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of alignment in RPGs is alignments are black and white, right? Mm-hmm. You're lawful good, you're chaotic good, you're lawful evil, you're neutral evil. It's just all black and white. And the reality is, real life, for the vast majority of us, and I'm not talking about the extremists, but the vast majority of us are neutral with good tendencies, neutral with lawful tendencies, neutral with chaotic tendencies, neutral with evil tendencies, whatever. Very few people actually are away from that neutrality. Once you really look at it, in D&D terms, 80% of the population in the real world is probably neutral with tendencies. It's the extremists that go on the other side. And I think that when we realize that we all have this commonality, life becomes a lot more pleasant.
Yeah, I agree. And speaking of alignment, my rules for alignment, pretty much here. I'll read it to you. Where the fuck is it?
Alternate. Magnetism.
Yeah, I like that too. That's true. That's President. I'm writing all these down, guys. Stephen, thank you. Alignment, not used, just be consistent in your personality. If you change it up at some point, make it gradual over time, and as a result of shit that happens to you in role playing, there are social consequences to certain types of behavior. You can't go around burning down every building because somebody pissed you off. That kind
of thing. Come on, man. Fire is fire. So, by the way, Matt Jackson wants to know if you will have a 20-page house rule booklet for your own house rules.
There might be some annotations and notes in the bottom or a bit in the back of the book, yeah. But as to background and character info, basically, the only thing I care about is that you can't have any sort of background that makes all the other PCs have to go out and do something. My father was killed by the orcs, so now I must go out and kill all orcs. No. Or it gives you any grand destiny. We're all in this. This isn't 5e. It's not heroic. It's actually set in the Bronze Age, so it's kind of the age of where heroes came from. The legend and stories that you hear about thousands of years later. It's like you look at all the Homer, right? The tales, Achilles and all that. That's Bronze Age stuff, right? That you hear about now. You look at Gilgamesh. You're looking at Lu from the Celtic tales. All that kind of stuff. That the origination of that stuff is probably way back in the Bronze Age, I believe, in most of them. And at the heart of it, they were probably just a few dudes trying to get shit done. And they accomplished some stuff. The next thing you know, it's blown up thousands of years later. That's what I want, the grit. We're into the grit of getting shit done. So that's it. That's it. Now, here's hit points, right? All characters start at 6, and then your class determines it, and this and that. And one rule I'm keeping, which I kind of like, that I've always done in various games. It's a little bit Care-Berry, but I think the players enjoy it as much as I do, because let's say you're a barbarian, you got 10 hit die, right? You roll a 10, right? Or you're rolling a 10-sider, you get a 1, right? So then instead of being stuck with 1, I said, all right, you can roll on an 8-sider now. And then if you don't like what you get, you can roll on the 6, and then down to the 4.
Oh, yes, I remember this house. Yep.
I kind of like that because it's a game within a game. It's fun. It's like you're at the roulette wheel. You're at the table. You're gambling, right? And so, you roll a 4 on or 5 on a D8. And what do? Do you go for the D6 and try to get better? Yeah, little things like that are kind of fun, And speaking of ability scores, Matt turned me on to this freaking podcast that's awesome. It's called Tale of the Manticore. So fun. This guy gets on there and he's writing a novel and he's rolling dice to see what happens, and he orates it on the Tale of the Manticore. It's like one of those solo games. He's a solo gaming with himself, and he just narrates the whole thing as he goes. It's freaking amazing. I'm on to like the 25th episode, and it's really good. But he has one house rule that Matt turned me on to. Matt, I'm keeping it. It's the rule where as you level, for each ability score, you roll a d6. If you roll a 6, that ability score goes up. Right, and I was thinking, well, oh God, you could end up with 1 million people with 18s, but no, I mean the chances of rolling d6s on every one of them, every level, are pretty low, and it gives the players at every level they're going to have a chance to gamble to get something, maybe, and it's just a fun little thing, So I kind of like that. I'm keeping it, man. All human, no other races here, human based, everything else. And I'm trying to make up every monster is going to be unique, right? No orcs, right. No goblins, blah blah blah, right? And basically, the 5 classes that you're going to be looking at here, or 6 classes rather, all right? You're going to have a warrior, standard fighter type, right? You're going to have an explorer, which is kind of a fighter thief, skills and this and that, but, they're not going to be thieves. I mean pickpockets and that kind of shit. They're more like truly explorers, right? And woodsmen, ghetto rangers, right? Not as powerful, no spells or anything like that. Hillsmen, your basic barbarian. Mystics is sort of a weird kind of a druid, right? And then mages, all right? Mages are going to be extremely rare, and so are the mystics, because I've always had this opinion that setting your world, the place where everything goes on, drives classes, not the other way around. The classes and races are derived from the setting. Everything goes back to that, and so that's why I wrote the setting info really, in my head a long time ago, and I hacked it all out first here so I had a framework, because I'm doing something different with magic, all right? Mage wars, blah, 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 they really broke the world, and mages are all, put to the torch, killed, and their shit's destroyed, right? Right. And so anybody who's found to be a mage, you're not, looked upon nicely. But the thing is, 6 moons in the world goes through a 21-year cycle. The continents are separated by tumultuous seas. The only time there's that the seas are passable is once every 21 years, and that's where in trade between continents happens. Other than that, it's just not going to happen, right? Too tumultuous. And so the moons are in such an alignment that the seas are calmed and whatnot, and the trade is passable. Now, also, on the worst day, the opposite, 10 and a half years is the worst day where the seas are the worst. That's when mages are born. The only time they're born is on that one day. So there's a very minor, tiny little bit of them out there in the world anyway. But you're born that day, you're a mage. The flip side, the day is the seas are the calmest in the summer, and that is where the mystics are born, the weird druids. And so they're both limited classes because of the world itself, right? And so what you're looking at now is essentially in game terms, they're special. And in this little continent, this area of the continent, they're okay, not killed on sight, which allows the players to have them, and for reasons within the story of the game. And also, you're going to have a situation where, okay, you'll say you play a mage, Eric. The mage dies in combat or something, right? Now, the mage dies, you're not going to have the chance to roll up another one. There's like 34 of them in the whole, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
you're not get one for a long time. Same thing with the mystics, right? And the mystics at 7th or 8th level are going to be retired because of their thing that they must do. They go through 3 stages of initiation. And the first is out in the world. The second is tending to agriculture and crops. And the third is astrology and the stars. And so each phase of their life is, related to levels and age. And so they're going to be retired after. So you're not going to be able to play a mystic past a certain level. And that's what I mean when I say the world determines things and the setting determines things. You can't just say, I'm going to be a fighter, tiefling, half orc, half giant, Fomorian, barbarian fighter tiefling. No,
but man, I was going to play
it just
that.
doesn't exist.
See, that's not fair that you're not allowing me to play the class combination that, come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the such idiots who play games like that, where they look at it a game as a game. And I've never looked at D&D as a game in that regard. It is a game, but the world, the setting, the adventure, the story that the DM is sort of putting the framework in place for, which is what's going on in the world in that area of the world you're in. That framework drives everything else in my mind. Right? That from that everything comes.
It's an alternate reality that is formed within the communal mental imagery of the party and of the GM. This is VR before VR existed as a headset, and I agree. And listen, I still remember running a game at a game store out in Long Island a couple of years ago, and we were playing in public. So that meant that the unofficial rule was, if somebody wanted to join your game, and you give them a shot. And this kid was just playing Swords and Wizardry, and he wanted to. And I say kid, he was in his young 20s. Seemed a little different, but they're gamers. We're all different. Yeah. And this looks cool. Is this like D&D? Like, yeah, but it's an older rule set. Goes, okay. So, what can I play? Any standard races? He goes, can I be a halfling? I'm like, yeah, excellent. You can be a halfling. Can I be a halfling? Oh God, I couldn't even tell you the class combination. 2 of them, it must have been like 5e or Pathfinder classes that I never fucking heard of. I was like, no. There's only these pure classes here. Oh, okay. All right. Well, first encounter, I pull out my sword, Everbright, or whatever it is. It's a +3 sword of elf killing. I'm like,
yeah.
What the? I go, dude, you have no magic items. It's a new campaign. What are you talking about? Oh, no, but my character has this. I went, alrighty, so I got to go soon. We got to wrap this up. And I think we got to reschedule our next game session so this person doesn't know when we're playing next, because we're not doing this again. I'm sorry. But there is a segment of gamers that, you're right, aren't in it for the experience of role-playing a campaign. Yes. They want they want to role-play a certain character that they must role-play in every game, and they want to be the center of attention.
Yeah.
When you're telling me what magic items you have, tells me that we're not playing the same game, dude. We're totally not playing the same game.
Yeah.
Oh,
I got a lot of those weirdos. I ran for a while back when I started into 5e. I said, let me try to play as many games as I can, as DM as many as I can. So I DM'd the library game, I DM'd the game store game, and I DM'd the game my brother and some friends. And library and game store, I know my brothers and friends know what I'm in for, right? But the library and then game store, you never know who the fuck's going to show up.
Yeah.
So I had these fucking weirdos showing up, dude, like the ones you're talking about, and these weird fucking motherfuckers. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You can't do this. And I give them a basic house rule, and they're like, they obviously didn't read it because they're going to come in playing a half giant whatever the fuck, And I'm like, no, that doesn't exist. Why? Because I said so. What the fuck? Why? So then I started with the game store and then the library. I said, listen, let me know the email address whoever wants to come. I'm going to email them my house rules. My house rules had a very long prelude. The first page was all about, this is what your shit you're going to have. This is the shit you're not going to have. Let me know if you still want to play. And most of the people didn't even respond after that reading the house rules, So that was the way to filter the idiots out, But yeah, it's that was so different, man. Back to house rules though. Skills. Now, you remember way back we were doing our Saturday night game. Waldman was there and this and that. We had the whole Raji joined us a couple hours that time, right? There was one other time we were playing that game. And Raji texted me. And he says he just told me a while earlier he's going to make his own D&D game, his own game system. I'm like, cool, man. What are you going to do? He's telling me bits and pieces. And then, I don't know, weeks later, he would text me once in a while. And the ICQ or AIM, those chat things we had back then. And he said, I'm going to have a skill system. I said, what are you going to have? He goes, D6, blah, 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 this and that. And he explained it all to me. I'm like, dude, do D12. Nobody ever uses D12 for anything. It's the most underused fucking die in D&D. And it gives you more of a stretch, more variety, right? You have more chances within to grow or fail or whatever. It's I'm stick with D6. I'm like, oh, that's stupid. So, motherfucker, I'm having a skill system and it's using a D12 because Raji should have done it and I'm doing it. So, I'm taking, there's going to be, and I'm kind of stealing shit from old 3rd and 33.5 Pathfinder here in terms of there's going to be common skills to all classes and then skills that you have to have a certain class to progress in. The common skills are local history and legends, acrobatics, athletics, intimidate, survival, swimming. And the class skills are depending upon class. Barbarians can have some barbarian abilities and skills, and not only they can progress in. Same thing with woodsmen. There's going to be some overlap. Woodsmen and barbarians might share a couple. Explorers might have some. But, that's what I'm going to have, though. I think it's a good skill system is necessary. Otherwise, you're just doing basic, do an intelligence check, do wisdom check. I'd rather have a skill system, where people progress.
And nobody, listen, even campaign to campaign, I don't use the same ability checks. Sometimes it's, all right, roll 3d6 lower than your ability. Roll 1d20 lower than your ability. All right, hit us. You got a target of 15 on a d20. You can add your level and add your ability score bonus. All these things, and they're all not saying that they're not valid ways to play. They all are, but they also are. None of them are built into the default systems that we play with. So it's going to be interesting to have a default system built in. So.
Yeah, it's going to be built in.
You've got me intrigued, Joe. You've got me intrigued.
At the beginning, you're going to have a base by class. You're going to have a base amount of skills points to put into your skills, right? And you could put them into your class specific skills, or you could put them into your common skills. There's no 3rd edition penalty for non-class because you can't do non-class skills. You go and do common or for your class, right? Because I think there should be a need for like thieves and certain. It's like D&D. Everything that a thief can do, every other class can do better in 5th edition. It seems like, you know what I mean. So it's like, what the fuck do you even need a thief for? Oh, backstab, because they could do it in combat. The thieves in this game can't do backstabbing in combat. You can only do a backstab when the guy doesn't know you're coming, and you got to stab him in the back with a sword in a vital organ, and only on humans or humanoids because you know where the goddamn heart is. That's how thieves work. And so it's not going to be a rogue in there stabby and killing everything in sight. It's not going to be like that. Right?
Oh, come on.
So I know.
You're taking away my player agency.
I know.
To quote
this is pre-World of Warcraft rogue and bullshit. So yeah. But speaking of something from 3rd edition as well, my saving throws. I'm taking a page out of 3rd edition because I think they did this well. I'm going for 3 different types of saves. Reflex, modified by your dex, physical, modified by your con, and mental modified by your personality, not intelligence, not wisdom. Because I think a mental save. Think about a charmed person. You're trying to get somebody to do something that they're not, they wouldn't do normally, right? You're trying to go to the brain.
Right.
It's a strength of
intelligence. You're right. Yeah. Whether it's your personality, your presence, or whatever word you're using. Yes.
Yeah. It's your ego. It's who you think you are. And you say, no, I am not a mass murderer. I will not kill my friend. Fuck you. And then the spell fails. That's a mental save. You know what I mean? So that's why I'm using personality, which normally would have been a dump stat, right? But from charisma, right? But now it's a mental save modifier. So I think I kind of like that, and that's going to be, that you have a modification, roll D20, beat the target number. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. So a little bit different there, and searching, a little bit different on searching. For everybody except the explorer, searching is describe to me what the fuck you're doing, how you're searching. I'm lifting up the thing, I'm pulling this out, I'm looking under there. The explorer will have the search ability. They're going to have the ability to say, I'm going to use my search ability, right, which will have skill points in it, and they're going to see, I'm going to search the chest. And they'll be able to do the roll and find the thing without having to describe that they pulled out this thing that found the secret door, right? And that makes the adventurer, or the explorer class, really, more valid, useful thing. Everybody else can still find it, but they got to say, I'm going to pull out the drawer, feel behind it, and reach under the thing to find the whatever, right? But these guys can say, I'm going to use my search ability and try to search that desk, and they could find the thing without describing it. And so that's kind of a little bit different there. Everybody has unique classes, have a unique need. Everybody's going to need every class, I think. You know what I mean? There's not going to be a lot of overlap.
Everybody fills a niche.
Yes, exactly.
That's the way it should be. By the way, Dandelion Game says that you won them over on the personality save.
All right, nice. Yeah. So next, gear, location, encumbrance, blah blah blah. I'm keeping it basic, man. I'm keeping like speed of 40 for unencumbered and just carrying basic shit in light armor. 30 if you're wearing medium armor or light and carrying a lot of shit. 20 heavy armor, medium armor, and carrying a lot of shit. Just basic stuff like that.
Right.
I'm doing a Bronze Age world, so the basic thing is going to be bronze as the common coin, right? So that the bronze piece, which I don't think has ever been in any gold, copper, luxury, silver. BP now we're going to BP, right? Here's one thing I'm thinking about now. I'm using a base XP table, right? Every class is going to have the same, 1 through 20. You're going to need certain XP to get to each level, right? But as I make these classes, I see why Gygax and the old guys back in the day decided that some classes need less XP to level than others, because there are certain things that the Hillsman Barbarian is going to have that may seem a little bit more than other classes, right, than the basic fighter. And so what I'm thinking about doing is a modification, is something I did with Ash. I introduced Hyperborea now. And when I did Hyperborea, I introduced demi-humans, and I said they're going to have these abilities, but if you're going to be a demi-human wizard, because you have all these extra abilities due to your being a demi-human, you're going to take, depending on what you are, like say you're an elf, your XP is like, 2,500 to get to a second level wizard, but because you're an elf, you need a 20% on top of that, on top of every goal. And I think I may be introducing this just as a way to keep some level of balance between the classes at different levels. You know what I mean? The explorer might have a little less. The barbarian probably have a little bit more of a penalty, but as long as I got the base, 2,500 to 5,000 to 10 to 20 to 40 to 80 to 150 as you go up and up and up, then you can just play with that, and then you just write down XP, cost or XP reduction as a percentage, and you know then at that point what you need, rather than have each class have their own XP table. I'm just going to do a percentage. I think that might do it. What do you think? Okay. Have you thought about that or done something like that?
Listen, I think it works if you're at a playtest level, but if you're going to publish these rules, you can't do the percentage.
Got to lay it out.
You got to lay it out because people hate math.
Yeah.
And you're listen. Everybody in the group that we're talking about can do the math. That's fine. But if you were ever going to self-publish this and put it out there, you'd have to, spend the time to put the charts together.
Okay.
Just because people are gonna be like, I don't understand why this class has to multiply the XP needed to level by 107%.
Yeah.
And this one's got to just give them the pure numbers so they don't.
All right.
They don't beat
It's
you
just
silly.
one more column. That's all it is. One more column in my class grid. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's not a big thing. I may just do it in this, just to. I'll use this as a base, and I'll do all the math for them. Basically, I might just do that.
Yeah.
I may just do it that way. Yeah, it's easy enough. XP is going to be for milestones, mission completion, blah 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 blah, as well as killing shit, as well as taking their stuff. So standard, old school.
Right.
I like the mix. I like and also XP for doing, as I put it, XP for creative shit or not boring the crap out of the DM. Players who get creative are awarded extra XP. Look around at the surroundings, utilize what you see to improvise something, and you'll get extra XP and maybe other benefits. Pull a MacGyver, basically. That's pretty much what I say. I'm also doing something out of the old school book with, remember the old, you got to train X amount of weeks, spend X amount of money between sessions, and you got enough. I never liked it. But there was something I liked about it. I like the fact that you can't level up in a dungeon. So I'm putting in there, you got to spend like 4 or 5 days in between to level up. You need some time. You don't need to spend a shit ton of money. All you got to do is just take some days, reflect on what the fuck just happened, sit in the bar, tell your stories, process it, practice a little bit in the backyard with your sword or spells or whatever. And then after a few days, bang, you level up. You're not going to level up walking on the road. You're not going to get that exclamation point over your head like in a video game. And all of a sudden, I killed the final orc. Now I'm level 3. Nothing like that. What do you think? Is that too burdensome, or is that game breaking, or can people roll with it? What do you think?
Listen, try it. That's what playtesting is about, right?
Yeah.
Vauban wants to know if there'll be XP draining enemies.
XP draining enemies. There's not going to be any undead, right? So that's usually where you get the XP drained from. So there's not any sort of undead. There's no clerics. There's no good and evil per se, and so there's a cosmology. There's some gods, but they don't grant spells or abilities. And here's what I thought about that, because you look back, no gods. Why, in terms of why would anybody have followers? Well, Jesus Christ. I mean, speaking of which, Jesus Christ. I mean,
there you go.
Whether you believe about miracles or not, in the Catholic Church, there's never been a priest that's thrown around cure like wounds during Mass, right? They still got a lot of fucking power. I look back into the Bronze Age. The clergy, the hierarchy of whatever gods, they had enormous control over the populations, and they had enormous power. You didn't have to cast cure light wounds and cure disease and the equivalent of a Viagra boner spell to get followers. You didn't need that shit, right? And so basically, you're still going to have a clergy. You're still going to be part of the world, but they're not going to be able to cast spells, because let's face it, what do most people use clerics for? Fucking cure light wounds and healing. It's just a boring shit class, I know you love playing a cleric. I hate them, though. I really, it just...
I like playing a cleric because, I really don't play them as a heal bot. I play them as a secondary fighter class who has a little bit of a jack of all trades when it comes to spells. But now here's something, Joe. Just something for your campaign to think about.
Yep.
Since clergy is not a character class, there's nothing saying that a magic-using character couldn't become clergy. And now, wouldn't that throw things into a bit of a scamper?
It could. I mean, they're going to be. You'll see the details in what's going on.
Yeah.
They'll be in sort of a school, right, from birth until age whatever the hell. When you start adventuring, age 17 or whatever, 18.
Right.
There's nothing stopping somebody within the role play of the game to becoming a member of a church. Absolutely not. Yeah, you can do whatever you want. If you're
my powers come from the Zeus, the god of Zeus, whatever.
Yeah, you can try. You're trying to pull it off. There's nothing stopping you from pulling that kind of shit. Trying to pull that shit off. You'll see what happens. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. That's the kind of shit. This is why I'm looking forward to playing with you, because good players make a good game. Man, this has been a DM's dream. You know what I mean? I get you involved. The other three we're talking about. This fucking fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Basic order of combat. All right, surprise check. Roll initiative, group initiative on a D6. Don't dawdle. Figure out what you're going to do. No confabs for 10 minutes before. Figure out what you're going to do and act. And then might be a morale check afterwards. After you're done fighting. So and then within the combat, you can move your full movement rate within the combat before or after an attack. That's the one thing I know that Talanian, you had him on interview and this and that. He's changing up in his new Hyperborea. It's the one problem I had reading that goddamn chart. He has a 2-page long chart of actions and combat and movement and this and that. I'm like, I don't know, I'm getting a fucking headache. I showed it to Rob Connolly. You know how good Rob Connolly is with numbers and charts and books. It took him a few minutes to figure out what the fuck was going on. So I'm like, I don't feel so bad. So, it's like, so I'm just keeping it fucking simple. You got 40 feet of movement based on what you're wearing and carrying. Within a combat round, you can move around 40 feet before, during, or after your swing, whatever you want to do. Just keep it simple, man. Just keep it simple. Simple initiatives, simple surprise, 1 to 2 on a D6, old school shit. Now what I'm doing for fighters and weapons and this and that, if you got a shield and a sword, you're obviously getting your +1 AC, right? And so, but people always want to do that. I want to be a Drizzt guy. I want to get 2 weapons. I got all these fucking bonuses. No, just fuck up. Shut the fuck up. What you're going to get, if you're wielding 2 weapons, you're +1 to hit. If you're wielding a 2-handed weapon, you're +1 to damage. And if you're wielding a sword and shield, you're +1 to AC. That's simple. Easy.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Just, you got all 3 basic builds and you're in there, Now, here's one weird thing. Missed the mage class, right? I've never understood why, other than dumb game balance mechanical shit, why can't wizards wear armor? Why can't they carry a fucking shield? I mean, I can understand heavy armor. This stuff you need to be trained on how to move in it and wear it and use it and all this kind of shit. But your basic medium armor, a chain shirt, and you should be able to do whatever the fuck you want. You're wearing a chain shirt.
I can see the shield. I can see the shield because the shield could somatic gestures. It interferes with that. I can see, but a chain shirt shouldn't be interfering unless you're saying that metal interferes with magic. In which case, everybody's going to be. I'm wearing Magic Man, so I'm magically protected because I got the metal on, right, dude?
Yeah.
It breaks down. So
here's what I'm doing with spellcasting. It's all mental. I'm breaking away from the traditional verbal somatic material. There's no material. You don't get to wave your hands around like a lunatic, and you're not saying creepy ass words. You fucking think it and it happens because I'm using a spell point system for mages, right? This is where I'm breaking the mold. I'm getting the hell away from fancy and magic, right? I'm using a spell point system, and you know how many spell points you have? It's your intelligence. That's it. That's how many you fucking get, and that's all you're ever going to get. You got an 18 int. You got 18 spell points. Now, there are going to be 3 different categories of spells beyond cantrips. Cantrips, you can do as many as you want, but they're stupid, right? Basic bullshit. Make an ice cube out of your drink. But the basic spells are going to be, lower, medium, and high, right? Tiers, right? So a low-tier spell costs 1 point. A mid-tier spell costs 2 points. A high-tier spell costs 3 points, right? You attain the ability to do medium and higher tiers as you go up in level, but what you're looking at is a spell point based system. If you're at an 18 intelligence and you want to cast 3 high tier spells in one day, or 6 of them that cost 3 points. Boom, you're done.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can cast 18 of them in one day, right? 18 low tier ones in one day. Whatever the hell you want, mix and match it. The hard part is going to be finding the spells, all right? Because as they were killed and burnt at the stake and all their shit's destroyed, they're extremely difficult to find. You're going to start with some basic ones, but it's the hunt to find the spells. You're not going to get them as you level. You're not going to learn them, and they're not going to appear in your spell book. You're going to find books with information, but it's going to be like the Mysticarium's Book of Light, and it's going to be like 7 or 8 light spells or something like that that are all the low tier, and you have 8 light-related spells. I'm using a lot from Rollmaster for that. I'm trying to model spells from Rollmaster because I like the way they did it by group of type of spell: water, light, fire, blah blah blah, and different levels of it. So I'm taking a lot of inspiration from that. But it's going to be a point-based system, tiers that determine the point, and the spells are going to be just mental, and they're not going to have all kinds of funky ass shit, like 5th edition has or the later editions have. It's just going to be back to old school basic explanation. You float in the air for X amount of minutes. That's it. It's just going to be simple like that. So when you're talking about spell casting is all mental, why the fuck wouldn't a guy who's a mage want to wear a chain shirt and carry a shield and a sword if you could blast out a spell just by looking at the dude and trying to make him catch on fire? That's it.
Not going to argue the point. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just changing that up a little bit, Yeah. Now, helmets are going to be important because here's what I'm doing with gear. gear, the big thing with the Bronze Age, I mean, I got a bunch of books on Bronze Age weapons and all that. The problem with bronze is that the shit bent and broke as opposed to steel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my basic rule is going to be that depending on what you're using, whether it be a copper, flint, obsidian, bronze, whatever the hell, it's going to have an item saving throw. And if I score a crit against the guy wearing a bronze breastplate, right, that breastplate will now have to make a saving throw. It's going to have a number, and it's going to be have to roll the number, or else it's broken, ruined, bent, shattered, unusable, right? And the same thing with if you fail, if you roll a natural one, and you're swinging against somebody with your bronze spear, right? You roll a natural one, all of a sudden the spear point is bent in and it's fucking useless because you hit it just at the wrong angle to just bend the goddamn thing in. And so it's going to be weapon breakage. So I'm going to have something along those lines.
Vlovan has a point to add to this. He joked, he had a previous comment, which was, what if I'm grappling while making a 5-foot step and I trigger an attack of opportunity, but I'm wearing a ring of deflection? And he's joking. But he said the more rules you add, it creates into a ton of interacting statements. Be prepared to have to work all those things out. So there is a point where you can fall under the weight of your own rules as your rules start to impact your other rules. So
yeah, that's true. I'm looking forward to it.
You don't want to turn into 5e by having too many rules.
Exactly. I'm trying to get the hell away from all that. I'm keeping some basics. I want to do more than a typical old school game, but certainly less than 5e or 3rd edition. Somewhere along the lines of Ash is my sweet spot. Hyperborea. That's sort of the level of intricacy I'm looking for. And I'm stealing a lot, bluntly, from the book, from his books. So that's a good sweet spot, but it doesn't fit my setting.
Right. Dandelion Games, Professor Dungeon Master made the comment that just doing a basic spell description for the player's guide and having the real rules in the Dungeon Master's guide, that is an interesting way to handle it. It would create some sense of wonder and whimsy for the players of spellcasters. Certainly, if you go beyond those initial starting spells, they might have a good grasp for. These are the ones that they spent their years of training learning, but when they find a new spell, oh yeah, I heard about this fireball spell, but I don't really know details beyond the very, very basics of it. That would be interesting.
Yep.
As long as it doesn't make too much work for the DM. Because the more rules you have and you put into it, the more you got to keep track of. So there's that whole. I mean, and Joe, you've always been better at tracking rules than I have. I have always been a minimalist when it comes to that. So it's gonna be. I'm interested in seeing how this works. And again, I'm viewing this as an active play test. So
that's what it is.
I would guess that with the players that you have, the results you're going to find in 12 months' time, you're going to look at the rules and go, well, I know the setting is still the same.
Yeah.
And a lot of other stuff is going to evolve and change, which is good.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the other thing I'm going to do is for healing. Basically, healing, I'm just going to, and here's a little bit of math, but bear with me a little bit here. For healing, you hit 0 hit points, unconscious, and you're stable, right? You negative 1 hit points, you're dying. And you're going to lose 1 hit point every round to go untreated. If you die at a negative number equal to your level plus 4. So a first level guy is dead at -5, second level at -6, and the cap's at -10. All right, a lot of algebra sound of shit there, right? Then you get into the healing thing, right? Overnight, in a safe place, in a bed or whatever the hell, you're getting 5% of your max hit points back per night plus your con bonus. All right, so it's going to take some time. All right.
Now, the question is that rounded up because 5% means all right? Because if you had 20 hit points, it's 1 point per day plus your con bonus, or it's all right. Yeah, because if you had like 5, it'd be a quarter a point. That would be low.
Yep. So that's how I'm gonna keep it with that plus your con bonus. And if you're in an unsafe environment, you're just getting 1 hit point in a night, no con bonus. If sleep is interrupted, goblins attack or whatever, you're not getting any healing essentially. Complete bed rest 24 hours basically doubles your healing. And that's I kind of like the slow heal, especially when you're not going to have healers. You're not going to have a cleric pumping you up after every fight, right? You got to slow heal, just like real life. It would take a while. You get a bad wound, you get an injury. It's going to take you a bit of time to recover from that shit. Somebody slices into your gut with a big fucking sword. You're not going to get up in 2 days and say, "Oh, I'm ready to go." No, you're going to be sitting there bleeding out, with a nasty gut wound. So there's a little bit of math involved, but you won't be doing it a lot. You know what I mean? So although there's math, I don't think it'll break anything,
Well, it's going to be a game that stresses avoiding combat.
That's it. Yeah.
Because you get into combat, it's not like you can do a normal Swords and Wizardry, Labyrinth Lord, Osric, AD&D session where you go toe-to-toe and then you heal up afterwards with the potions of healing or through Cure Light Wound spells.
Yeah.
You're going to have a combat session and you could win it and still go, all right, well, we're done.
Yeah. You might find by the time you hit 20th level, you might find one magic item maybe. You know what I mean? There's not going to be a shit potion scroll or anything like that. It's going to be some weird kind of funky thing. It's not going to be a healing item. That I'm keeping it extremely low magic, right? So it's going to be a little bit different in that regard too. Now, once I get into the classes, I broke out a grid with your attack bonus, your mental save base, your physical save base, your reflex save base, and then what I'm doing is every time you level up, you may have a chance. Like in the grid, it's going to see if you get your base saves are going to go up as you level, right? The base save. To that you add your modifier for your class. But every few levels, you're going to get one save point to put wherever the fuck you want. That's how you're going to customize your guy. If you don't want your barbarian to have low mental saves, then you could use all your saving points that you get every few levels and drop them all into your mental saves instead of buffing up your physical, your reflex saves, right? And so the same thing with skill points. You're going to have a base starting skill point pool, but then as you level up, you're going to have a few. You might get one some levels, a couple times you might get two. And then you have to skip a few levels, you get one. And so you're going to be able to put those wherever you want and customize your character in that regard too. You can put them into your class skills or the common skills, So you will have individualization within your classes. Not every warrior is going to look the same, right? But you're going to have the ability to make it your own. You're not just going to have a standard cookie cutter, old school essentials type of fighter. Right. So I like that. I like that. And then you get into the various class abilities. Each one's going to have them. What I'm doing is just have a sort of a master list of abilities and skills that each class will have, and that's what the stage where I'm at now. I have the abilities and skills all written up. Now I just got to apply them to each class and then determine the XP thing, as it applies. And I'm also going to do the. I got to find a way to figure out in advance if I'm giving too many skill points or too many save points. You know what I mean? I need to figure out a gauge basically to see. You're not
going to know until it starts playing out.
Until you play. That's what I figure. I'm trying to gauge it as best I can for now, but I'll figure it out later, I guess. But that's kind of where I'm at. It's 85% done essentially, and it's all in one big Word document, and that's what you're gonna get because I don't know how to do all that fancy bullshit, man. So
like I do. That's why I have Jeff Jones as my layout guy.
Exactly.
My layout was serviceable, as the best I think I heard.
Mine is straight up Word. The most I do is I might bold something, I might bold and underline something, or I might just underline something. That's all the fanciness that you're getting out of my shit.
Fancy schmancy, sir. Fancy schmancy.
It's all Times New Roman 12-point fonts,
Oh, at least. Oh, good. 12-point. Thank you. My eyes thank you already.
Hey, I'm no fool, man. Yeah.
The age group of your
exactly.
Players.
Exactly. I'm no fool.
I think Vauban's the youngest of us. Jesus.
How old is he now? How old are you, Vauban? I'm just curious. I know you are the youngest by a few years, but you've got to be
40s.
Mid his 40s, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't hit that 50 mark. I think everybody else in the group is going to be in their 50s. He's going to be the baby. The baby.
God. Yeah.
16-point Comic Sans. Yes. Yeah, so that's what you want.
16-point Comic Sans. Yeah, exactly. Sans. Make it big.
I want it in word bubbles, please.
Yeah. So that's pretty much what I got now. If anybody has any comments, and then people are going to listen to this later or whatever, if you could get through it all and not be bored to death by my ranting and random shit, leave comments, because I'm going to go back and I like to read the comments. So read the comments, leave the comments. I'll read the comments, and I'm definitely changing just by what you guys say. And I'm back to presence or magnetism, or maybe both. You know what I mean? So yeah, they're definitely. I'm looking for input. I'm not I'm not an idiot. Oh, it must be this way. I must use a D6 because I've so said it. No. Like Reggie did. So yeah.
See, I was right. Kind of he turned the youngin turned 40.
Oh shit! You just turned 40, you motherfucker. You young pup. God, I didn't hit 51. Yeah, I had 50 in COVID, man. That sucked. I was hoping, it was something for the 50th birthday, and it was nice. It was me and my brother out because it was May 23rd, and it was COVID, and it was summer. We were outside, and we were sitting 6 feet apart next to his fire, and having a few, and that was my birthday. It was nice. But I was, you put in the back of your head, I'm not a big party guy. I was like home for something. But motherfucker, COVID's fucking us all up, dude. COVID's fucking us all up. Fuck COVID. In
its pie hole, damn it. In its pie hole.
Yeah, papyrus. Papyrus for the cool PowerPoints. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yeah. I don't know if Matt knows Vauban. I don't know if they know each other. I don't think they've ever played together. I think Tim has. But yeah, it will be fun. It'll be fun. And we got our 5. I was looking for 5. We got 5. And I'm looking for, hopefully, I was telling the other guys that, like, what I always think when I start a new character or start a new campaign as a DM is I always think to myself, I'm going to start here, and by the time I'm done, I'm going to be a god. I'm always looking for the long-term game. I'm never looking for the bread and the beer and pretzels kind of play here, play there, jump over there. It doesn't make sense. It always has to hang. I'm always looking for the long game, and so I'm hoping to get at least a year out of you guys. So let's see how far we get, But like with my brother's game, the 5e thing, I think we're on our 3rd year, and I have no intention to stop it for a few more, So that's what I'm looking for. I like the high-level game. I do like the high level. So yeah. And as explore the game, explore the world, you flush it out, you help me in that regard, and I also plan to write little short stories about it, and who knows, man, I might publish this goddamn thing someday if it doesn't suck so bad, So that's it.
Matt has GM for Vauban.
All right.
There you go.
Cool.
Can we all sing "It's a Small World After All"?
Yeah. Nice. It is.
Small world after all.
And when I start singing, it might be a good time to.
Yeah, and I'm sober. That's the whole thing. And I'm maybe I'm punch drunk, but I am certainly sober.
Yeah.
Listen, folks. A few quick things. We are at 965 subscribers, 35 away from 1,000. When we hit 1,000, we got a couple of things coming along, including a $500 drive-through RPG Now gift certificate giveaway, and I will sponsor a room at North Texas RPG Con for next June, and we will stock it with booze, all the fun stuff. So if you enjoy the show, if you enjoy the live streams, if you enjoy me and my daily rants and news updates, please subscribe, like, comment, all these things. It really helps our algorithms. We're not making money off that stuff. We do this because we enjoy it and because we enjoy the community and we want to give back to the community. So I'm very thankful for my co-hosts, which will include my wife Rachel tomorrow when we do Gamers Health at 8 p.m. So there, I threw that in. Other than that, Joe and I, we are both immunized. I, honest to God, don't care whether you get immunized or not, so long as you take common sense precautions to keep yourself, your family, your loved ones healthy and safe. These things are all personal decisions. That's on you and your medical professionals that you trust. Ignore the talking heads, whether it's on TV, whether it's on YouTube. Even us, again, we're not giving medical advice. We made choices based upon our risk factors. You know your risk factors. So judge accordingly.
Be safe.
Because we're all gamers, right? And as gamers, we're always working the odds. Like, what are the odds if I attack? We're always playing. For me, the risk of a not fully vetted vaccine compared to my comorbidities. I was like, I'll take the vaccine, please.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you are younger and in perfect health, your risk factors, your math, as you figure it out, might wind up giving you a different answer than it gave me. That's all on you. All right. All I ask is that you bring common sense into it, leave emotions behind. Other than that, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice. Roll them well. And unless you're Tim Shorts, in which case you're just guaranteed ones if he's a player. But that's just besides the point. Tim, we love you. That's why we tweak you when you're not here. But Matt can tell you about the tweaking later. And I'll be back tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern.
All right. We'll keep you posted on the game, too. Oh, Eric, 2 weeks. Not this coming Monday. The following, we're on. So it's on.
All right.
Maybe do some recaps here. That could be fun.
That's not the holiday weekend, right? Because the holiday weekend,
I don't think so, is it? It's the 20 fucking something.
No, that's the week before the holiday weekend.
27th. Right. No, the 23rd is the the following is the long one. Yeah.
Right. Now I will probably be up in a focus, but who the fuck knows?
All right. You can log in, right? We're doing roll 20, so yeah, we're good.
Oh,
yeah, we can do our little recap.
Yeah, huh? that we can do. I don't know if I'll be able to get a full session in because my connection up there sucks unless I gotta use a hotspot. The DSL really sucks. I gotta get my parents off DSL up there.
All right.
In any case, later, folks.
Later, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.